This is Mike Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent and teaching instructor. Welcome to my YouTube station. I worked at IRS for a decade, a long 10 years. I have a whole team of former IRS agents on staff. And some of the questions that I get, I make YouTubes out of them because that's the best way to make YouTubes, is to find out what people want to know. So people have asked me, how do you prepare for an IRS tax audit? Many people get their letters and saying, oh my God, I'm being audited by IRS. So what's the next step? What should I do? Well, if you're getting represented, you don't have to worry about that. But if you're not getting represented by IRS, you have to look, first of all, get your tax return out, and then get your IRS letter that they sent you. Generally, if you're looking at your audit letter, you're going to find out exactly the issues IRS wants. How did you get audited in the first place? Very simple. IRS had a algorithm run through your computer, your tax return, and boom, these are the items, and it spits out a letter and says, these are the issues that we want to know. They're suspect, they're suspicious of. Doesn't mean they're right, it just means they didn't match up with the IRS algorithm. What does that mean too? It means that based on other tax returns, these issues kind of fell out of the national norm. So what you do is, many people, believe it or not, don't have their tax return and their expenses perfectly matched up. So what you can do is you can use the process of reconstruction to say, well, I don't have these expenses, but let me reconstruct to you how I got this number. I'll give you a perfect example. Let's pretend you're a painter and you may not have all the receipts for your painting supplies. Well, you can go back to the vendors that you used. You may have had 4 vendors, but you only remember 2 of them. You can put some of those in there and say, these are my typical vendor receipts. So you can put a list together and a summary together and a letter together and say, hey, these are some of my reconstructions that I want to give you in support of my information. The key about IRS audits is this: you don't want them to go ahead and expand the actual IRS audit. You try to keep it within 1 year. Usually, former IRS agents like us can do that if it warrants that. Many times some returns are so egregious you can't do that. That's some of the advantages of using former IRS agents. But if you're doing this by yourself, just be really nice and neat, be organized. You want to have a clear package and documentation that goes into them, and try to do as much reconstruction as you can. You'll probably be okay. If you need us, we are one of the leading firms for tax audit representation because we got some real all-stars on our team. We really do. Give me a subscription. You can share what you have if anyone you're going through an audit. We do really good work. I've been doing this 51 years. I worked at IRS for a decade. Thank you so much for listening. Appreciate your time. Thank you for the subscription as well.